Hey there, kitty cat. Good morning. This is Bill from Curious Cars on it's a moderately mild Florida May morning. I can't complain that much other than there's a shitload of birds chirping around me and they sound weird and pissed off. There's one there keeping an eye on me. And I'm here today with this 2018 Tesla Model X P100D, and this is not going to be a full review. This is going to be another one of these quick takes as commanded by my 19-year-old snowflake nephew who says my videos are just too damn long. And I get it, I'm still going to have long videos, but I want to do a few short ones just for the hell of it, just to see if he's right. And this presented itself as an opportunity. A good friend of mine, Dave the wholesaler, came up with this thing, dropped it off, and I thought, he said, look, this is it's a fancy version. It's got the full self-driving beta. You should give it a try. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And just before I do that, I'm going to give you a quick a quick sort of rundown of what this thing is. So it's the Tesla Model X, Model 10. I don't know if he means it to be a Roman numeral or not, but what the hell, we're going to go with that. And it's from, of course, the company Tesla, as run by Elon Musk, who has now become sort of this intriguing character since he bought Twitter and, became sort of this based, interesting guy who obviously thinks a little bit like I do. So I won't say it's warmed me up to electric cars at all, but I do have to appreciate what Elon Musk is doing. He's having a lot of fun, apparently being a bit of a fly in the ointment. But I will give credit to him for one thing. If credit is credit may not be the right word, but what Elon Musk did, what nobody else has ever been able to do, is make electric cars cool and desirable. And, while I think electric cars are stupid and I don't want one, it really is quite a miracle that he pulled off in doing that. Because before Tesla, electric cars were thought of as really, really sort of stupid. And I don't, you go back in time and you look at the history of electric, and I know they had electric cars in like the turn of the 20th century, but I mean, you go back into the 70s and whatnot, and the cars just looked really, really dumb, like something that would come up in one of the later seasons of Chips, along with a robot and Ponch's new fake partner. So anyway, kudos to Elon for that much. That could not have been his easy thing to pull off, but he did. And we'll give him a little bit of credit for that. But let's have a quick walk around to this car and see what's up. So this is their top of the line. Oh, now it's beeping. I've gotten too close with the key. It doesn't matter. This is their top of it's not the flagship of the Tesla lineup. That would be the Model S. But it is sort of, because it's the crossover version of the Model S that uses the same platform and, is just as expensive. And this one is, back in 18, it was absolutely insane. The P100D was the top of the line Model X. This thing would have stickered in the 160 grand range. So it's a pretty friggin' fancy piece. And for that money, what you got was the fit and fit. There, you see, I've walked too close and now the door is opening for me. I don't know if it's going to open all the way or not. No, it did. Yeah, there it goes. See, that kind of shit is really creepy to me. I mean, that doesn't happen on a 69 Z28, and I'm glad. I don't want it to happen. So anyway, let's close that. But what you got for your money was the fit and finish of a Brickman, I mean, these panel fits. I also can't get the spoiler to go down, by the way. The panel fits are just silly. Look at this. Look at this. And yeah, I mean, that is one of the hardest things for a manufacturer to do. But when you're dropping 160 grand on a car, yeah, come on. But I was speaking to my friend Robert about it yesterday, and he came up with I don't know if he robbed it from somewhere, but he called it subscription-based motoring. And I think he's onto something there. Robert the Polak, he's one of the worst people on earth. He's in stiff competition with my friend Chris for being the worst person on earth. I mean, and the difference with Robert, he's absolutely impervious to attack. I mean, there's nothing you can say to Robert that's going to unsettle him. And then he will just come out with something that cuts you off at the knees. I remember I talked, in a previous video, I said having a conversation with Robert is like shoving a pine cone up your ass, and I stick by that. His wife watched that video, and she wholeheartedly concurred with that assessment. I mean, this is the guy's wife. Absolutely agreed that that was the end result of having a conversation with her husband. So, but anyway, he called it subscription-based motoring, which, if you remember, there was a little bit of a hullabaloo about BMW charging a heated seat subscription not all that long ago. Turned out it wasn't in the United States, it was in Britain or something, but they charged like $18 a month to activate the heated seats. And, this is sort of the new economic model that a lot of these companies are doing. And Elon himself said that Tesla is more, or at least as much of a software company as it is a car company. And essentially what that means is they can keep charging your ass as time goes on. And this one is no different. For instance, the full self-driving beta in this car, I want to say cost 15 grand. This is a Naples car, which means that it was probably owned by some mousy-looking 50-year-old woman, whose grandfather invented WD-40 or something. It's just, she went into Tesla and said, give me the most expensive thing you got, and that's what they came up with. It's just what goes on around here, and you can see the air conditioning's dripping there, so it's probably the only, hopefully the only fluid that leaks out of a Tesla. If I see anything else, it'll be creepy. But, so, what they do is they charge you these sort of ongoing things. In fact, there's because this is owned by a wholesaler, my friend Dave the wholesaler, whoever owned it before took their credit card off it. You have to have a credit card lodged with the account, and it's got a nag screen inside saying, hey, supercharging not available, add a payment method. And I can't make it go away. And it's just, it is a whole different world for me, the way this shit operates. And I'm not sure I like it, but yeah, what are you going to do? So anyway, look, the P100D, they've changed the name, the nomenclature since then. But back then, I think there was a P75, a P90. It all had to do with the size or, power of the motor. This was the P100. P for performance, D for dual. It has two 3-phase hyper technical electric motors that put out the equivalent. I'm not going to get into all this EV crap that these people like, but whatever. It puts out about the equivalent of 600 horsepower, and it's extremely fast. And because it's the performance version, it has this ludicrous speed mode and ludicrous plus. And that's probably another subscription, by the way. The one thing about ludicrous speed, which I found out, was it takes like 20 minutes to heat up the battery or do whatever it is. So, I mean, you're sitting there at the stoplight. A guy in a Z06 Corvette pulls up next to you, and you're like, hey, yeah, I want to race you, but give me 30 minutes for my batteries to warm up. Anyway, it just seems really stupid to me. And the car, when I was driving it, gave me a timeout and said I have 2 timeouts left before it just cuts me off altogether. But we'll get into that as we go. So let's do a quick walk around of this thing and see what we got. So I have a key fob here, and I think the most distinguishing feature on this car are the Falcon wing doors, they call them. Let's see if they work. I couldn't make them work earlier. Oh yeah, there it goes. All right, so there's the one on the left. And there's the one on the right. So, okay, there you go. So that is like a parlor trick, I mean, that's going to wow your friends, although it's, I guess it's old now. They've seen it all before. You can even get them to open the way that, man, is that going to work in 10 years? I mean, those things are going to break your neck or your chin coming up, and there's just no way that could have any sort of longevity to it. But, I guess if you're leasing the thing for 3 years, then who gives a crap? You can also open your front doors, supposedly, although they're not opening for me now when I hit them. No, and in fact, now it just closed the other door. It's supposed to be able to open the trunk. Front. Yeah, none of the shit is working. You see, so it's already getting fucked up. There, now it's open that again. Let's see if I can close this side. I can. Let's see if I can close the driver's side now. Yeah, there it goes. Alright, so look, the hell with it. We'll just keep going from there. There's a trunk button here as well, but I'm pressing it and nothing happened. There it goes. Oh, and it comes down. There, that's great. That's all it gives you. Go up! Oh, God's sake. Anyway, so here you can see in the back, you've got a little bit of room. I used a 110-volt charger last night, which was, you know, I think it added like 4 miles to my range. The thing is like a 290-mile range. Back in 18, this model was about performance, not range. They've now made the top-of-the-line thing about range and not performance. But so when you opted for this, you know, super performance model, your range actually went down from what the smaller versions had. Kind of interesting. And I think this door is going to open for me when I get close. No, it's not. Let's see if I can make it do that now. I'm going to walk up to, you know, this is the, I mean, it's, you know, it's fun, goofy shit. And at the same time, it just seems really, really dumb. So now I'm walking back up. Is the door going to open? It's not. All right, so I'm just going to press this thing. And there, the door opens all the way. So now I can get in. I'll have a quick look. Now, to close the door and start the car, you just press the brake pedal. Jesus. There it closes. Turn that down. You can see I've got, why is it beeping at me? You can see I've got this ludicrous speed thing, you know, heating up. So I press that. I can't undo it. You get over here, you can, you know, they've changed the screen since 18, but back then it had this giant iPod-y looking screen here in the middle, and you can open the doors and do whatever. Then you have this big map, and then all your vehicle settings. And we're just not going to get into all that. I did a Tesla before. If you want to see me go through and, you know, go into the toy box and make the car fart, then you can. I'll put a link to that video in there anyway. This was fascinating to me. It looks like something that would hold like a homemade Garmin. Sorry, you know, like a Garmin navigation. Why? I mean, you have all of this tech, and the thing doesn't even have a start button. It's got a map the size of a, you know, Rand McNally coffee table book. And apparently they're using some kind of Garmin up on top of their dashboard. And they have it anyway. I liked this. I have to admit, this giant windscreen that goes all the way back, you know, it made me feel like I'm in some sort of a Star Trek shuttlecraft or something. It just has that vibe to it, and I'm sure that's what Elon's going for, along with the absolute strangest sun visors that I've ever seen, which a little magnetic thing pokes out there, and then they're down here, and then you could flip them up and move them around. I don't know. I can't get rid of them. There they go. So it's just, you know, I mean, it is a very different experience driving one of these things from any other car that I've ever been in. And of course, being a dinosaur, well, I guess that's not altogether unusual. So let's open this ridiculous door. And this one does have optional third row seating and second row captain seats, which is kind of fascinating. And there it is. So anyway, look, long story short, short video, and we're just going to go forward. I'm going to do this autopilot thing, full self-driving mode, and I'll tell you what it did to me yesterday. So bear with me a minute. I'm getting my crap back in the car, and then we're going to go for a drive. Why don't you eat some of those birds, you know, help a brother out. Alright, so let's just do this thing. Now, as I walk up, it should sense the key and do that whole door open. Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Alright. Foot on the brake. There goes the door. Beeping at me, angry for the seatbelt. So when I did this yesterday, I did a I tried this autopilot thing out. And, you know, when I hear autopilot and self-driving and all that shit, I think, okay, the car's just going to drive itself and I'm just going to sit here. So I did. And I wasn't touching the wheel. These cars come with some kind of a weird yoke, which is apparently quite freaky to some people. And the new ones now, it's optional to get a wheel in, and they'll also retrofit the old ones to have an actual standard wheel instead of that thing Knight Rider had. And, you know, I think whoever owned this thing must have gone back and got it, and I agree with that. I mean, I get that the yoke looks kind of cool, but what a stupid way that must be to drive. Anyway, we're going to navigate. I'm going to get out on the road before I do it. You know what? Let's give it the full test. Let's see how it does with Peter's Gate. All right, so we're going to start with this thing. We're going to navigate. I'm going to go to Dogwood Lane, which a friend of mine lives on. It's not terribly far away. So, all right, Dogwood... Is it road? Naples, is it way? I didn't think it was way. I thought it was lane. Let's just get Dogwood in there all the way. All right, so it must be way. All right, so we're going to click that. And is that right? I don't know if that looks right, but yeah, whatever. It's going to be right enough. So, all right, we're going to start, and I'm going to use this switch gear from Mercedes to go into drive. All right, and now the car is showing me what we're doing here, and I'm moving. All right, I'm gonna hit that start. Okay, so now you see that little 30 max thing lit up. Holy shit! Yeah, you see, I think it's gonna hit Peter's Gate. It was just gonna hit it. I mean, yeah, I just feel they haven't quite got the science of this down yet completely. I mean, maybe you're not supposed to set your autopilot in your gated house, but even so, you think it would run into an object, and maybe it would have stopped, I don't know. But it didn't feel like it was going to stop. It was accelerating quite rapidly towards that. Anyway, all right, so here I am. We've got, we're going to run down Peter's. Yeah, we're going to hopefully not run over that nice woman with the dog as we're doing it. There you can see that supercharging unavailable, add payment method. That's what Robert was talking about, the subscription-based motoring. And away we go. All right, so I'm going to pull this Mercedes-style cruise button switch back once. You could set all the different, in fact, I'll show you that real quick. So under settings, when you go into autopilot here, you can see you can make it assertive, you can make it chill, you can make it average, all snowflake language. We're in the full self-driving beta. You can add the offset. So if you want the car to speed like crazy, you can just hit, you know, I don't know how high we could go, but if we're at 65, it'll run at 80, and I do appreciate they put that feature in. Imagine an autopilot that just stuck to the exact speed limit. That would absolutely suck. Nobody would use it. So, all right, so I'm going to click it once. Now we're on a, you know, speed control. Click it twice, that green... There we go. Now it's in this full self-driving mode. So this is what happened to me yesterday. I took my hands off the wheel. It was beeping at me. I didn't know why. It got extraordinarily angry, and after like 4 minutes of beeping, it shut the whole system off and said, you got to take a timeout. You've been warned. You took your hands off the wheel, and you know, if that happens twice more, you're out. You're done. No more autopilot this trip now. And if you do it 2 more times, no more autopilot ever. And I mean, it's like I felt like I was getting chastised by my 3rd grade teacher. Why is it going 30? I think I can up that with this. Yeah, all right, so now I've set it to 40, and we'll see if it does that. So yeah, the Tesla will speed for you, which is nice. You got to keep up with the flow of traffic. But I've got my hand on the wheel, but I'm not moving it. It wants it. You know, what the frig is the point of full self-driving if you have to be terrified and keep your hands on the wheel? And here's some nice old lady walking on the left. I just feel like this car is gonna veer towards her and kill her. Yeah, it's slowed down. It just, yeah, it even shut it off. It just, all right, I promise I'm not gonna do that again. Stopping for traffic control. Jesus. All right, so it's stopping itself. I'm not touching the brake or the gas. Once I make, oh my God. I mean, this is so much worse than I thought it would be. All right. Or I should say more dangerous than I thought. Okay, so now we're back in full self-driving. You see I've got the lane in front of me, and I'm basically I have my hand resting on the wheel and my feet completely off the pedals, and we're just going to see what it does. What are we going, 54 and a 45? That's fine, good. Okay, so we've set it to the correct offset. So you've got a truck up there. So there's like 5 different levels of autonomous driving. 0 is like no autonomous driving. 5 is like you can go to sleep in the passenger seat. And I think this system's supposed to be like a 3, maybe a 4. And again, this is all snowflake crap that I don't understand much about. But oh God, is it going to stop? Okay, it is. So it sensed that truck up there and it's now stopped. And now we're going forward again. I've got the distance set. You can change the distance between, just like you can on a Mercedes. You know, even back in the 20 years ago, Mercedes had Distronic Cruise, where it would set the distance between the car in front of you. And this is, why is it going? Okay, I just want to let him left to go around that guy, but you're making that guy next to us uncomfortable. I mean, how is this in any way relaxing? I'm just living in absolute terror of the car veering into this Jeep or rear-ending or hitting the guy on the bike. And, you know, it's supposed to be something that's making me feel less active. Anyway, and, you know, look, I feel like I'm driving an iPhone. I mean, this is obviously some vision of the future where cars are all going to drive themselves. Those Falcon doors will become wings at some point. They'll fly around. But man, we ain't there yet, you know? And you can tell that this science is not fully perfected. I believe Tesla uses all the camera stuff instead of, what's going on here? The camera stuff instead of radar or LiDAR or, you know, whatever. I mean, because you can't entirely trust, you know, cameras, can you? I mean, somebody could smear a little Vaseline on them, or, you know, cover them up with some mud or dirt, or... Alright, so is it just gonna... Yeah, alright. Why is everyone going to the left? Maybe I should go to the left. There's another time. I wonder if they're self-driving as well. And, you know, that is the thing with Teslas, which absolutely shocked me, is for an electric car, all of a sudden you saw them everywhere, and that is what Elon managed to do. First of all, make them where people wanted them, which to me was shocking, and then secondly, produce them in a pretty big scale. You know, enough to where you see a bunch of them running around. That was quite an accomplishment that you have to give the guy credit for. So let's see if it'll get over. So far it's not. It says it wants... Okay, so what the hell? I have to turn right here. The car actually knows I have to turn right here, and it's stopping at the changing lanes to follow route. Well, how the hell is it going to do that? I have to do that. This guy's going to run in the back. Okay, so there. And now, what the fuck is that? Alright, so it did not go into the deceleration lane as it should have and slow down. To me is a major flaw. If I'm a driver test guy, I'm probably going to fail the student for that shit. So there is a big, you know, L on the head for self-driving already. And I mean, it really wasn't that complicated. It knew we had to change and, you know, turn right, and it just didn't. And then it's just changing lanes. If I left it do its own thing, what would we just sit there until a break in the traffic came, which would never come? I bet it won't let me set it while I'm sitting here either. Let's see. No, it won't. Alright, so now I've got my cruise, now I've got my self-driving. So it's taking this turn itself. I had to hit the gas there just to make people not beep at me. I feel it's a little bit indecisive, this car. There's a little bit of that ludicrous speed. At least it's got that going for it. Alright, so we've moved over. Did not use its turn signal to do that. I mean, man, this is friggin' terrifying. And I do not understand it at all, how this in any way is a feature that is supposed to give you comfort and happiness. God, I feel like I need a big... What? Oh, hands on the wheel, alright. Man, if I get another... if I give this thing back to Dave with, you know, self-driving, angrily turned off by the stern man, he'll be pissed off. So I'm going to be turning left up here. Let's see what it does, because right now we're in the right lane, obviously. And, you know, traffic's coming up on the left. How soon is it going to want to get over there? If it was my dad, he'd get over to the left like 50 miles before the turn, because that's always the way my dad would operate. Now we're accelerating in the right instead of taking this nice gap that we have to get over to the left, which I probably would have done. I do have it set to aggressive driving, so, you know, we do have that going on, and maybe I should have set it to, you know, something. But how am I supposed to do that? Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Let's see if it gets over now. We've got a nice gap beside us. Changing lanes to follow route. Alright, it's done that. Alright, again, I'm not steering the car. It asked me to apply pressure, but that's it. And now is it going to get over into this lane? This is where we're supposed to be, so it did. Alright, why am I... Yeah, if there's a guy behind me, he's going to think I'm an asshole. The car just braked hard for no proper reason at all. Dogwood Lane is a left-hand turn. This is the last thing I'm going to do here, is allow it to turn at this light. And then I'm going to shut the whole damn thing off and, you know, go find a 1966 Plymouth to drive to get this out of my system. And I apologize. I understand this must be absolutely excruciating. But the truth is I'm terrified. I mean, you know, here I am in essentially a self-driving car. And it's doing shit that frankly feels quite weird and not correct. I mean, you know, there really are. And I get, okay, it's a beta, so it's still in testing. But I mean, when they beta test hand grenades, you don't hand them out to the public, you know? I mean, they should probably get this thing a little bit more dialed in before they put it in the hands of people like New Dalton. I just realized that probably people don't know why we call him New Dalton. Well, there was an old Dalton at Audi Europa who worked there for a while before he came. All of a sudden, we had two Daltons when he, you know, the second guy came, and we had to do that to distinguish them. The original Dalton since became a transsexual and changed his name, so we don't have to call him New Dalton, but it still sticks. But anyway, there it is. So now we're going to turn left. I've got my hand on the wheel, just resting on it. Let's see how it navigates this turn. All right, well, it actually did that fine. I can't complain about that at all. And we're accelerating forward. And Dogwood is right up there. So look, I'm going to stop there. I've had my fill. There's the brake pedal. We're off. And I'm just going to drive to work now the normal way. There it is, a quick test of the full self-driving beta from Tesla. And of course, that is how they managed to make a 2018 still give them, you know, there's going to be subscriptions for that, and, you know, for door openers or heated seats or garage door things, or, you know, it's just the wave of the future. And frankly, I blame snowflakes for it. You know, they were so susceptible to their stupid video games. I think my nephew, when he was a kid, spent like $11,000 on some video game without realizing it. And they're now going to get those people to buy subscriptions for cars. All right, well, I wish I'd kept filming, because just 20 seconds ago, this thing blasted past a stopped flashing school bus that's behind me. I get like a $4 million ticket if there'd been a cop nearby, and it did it before I even knew what was happening. So there you go. Tesla obviously hasn't figured out the whole stopped school bus issue. which is friggin' terrifying. There it was. The thing, I mean, it had the stop signs out flashing, and the thing does this radical lane change. And just blows by it, you know, trying to kill whatever child might have been crossing the road. And while I can certainly appreciate endangering children, I'd prefer not to, oh, there it wants my hands on the wheel again. I'd prefer not to get the ticket for that. So anyway, there it is. Turn left. Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, just cutting off traffic. It's gonna make me hit this. I mean, you have got to be shitting me. This thing is just not dialed in at all. We're stopping at a green light. There, I had to push the gas to make it go. Children there. I hope it doesn't want to take them out. It's done it again. That's my second one. And my hand was on the wheel. My hand was on the wheel. Another timeout. Another timeout from Tesla for no good reason. You know, the first one I deserved. I will admit that. That one, absolute rubbish. That was not fair at all. Hand was on, watching, and it still gave me that shit. So, yeah, there's just nothing humans like less than injustice. And this car is now giving me a terrible injustice. So, anyway, I'll continue on to work. Without the auto steer, there's no more point. So, yeah, that's the end of the drive. Take care.